Welcome everyone. Today we're going to learn how to prepare our clay for use. So you've received your bag of clay by now and you just want to go ahead and open your bag of clay. And I'm going to try and get you guys in the habit of opening and closing your bag of clay every time you get clay out of it. Otherwise you're going to spend a lot more money on clay. As soon as this bag is open, it's drying out. Okay, so cut your clay off and then go ahead and close it back up again. So this is a 25-pound block of clay, and it has gone through a pug mill and hopefully has had the air taken out of it, but we're never sure. So what we're going to do is we're going to use our wire tool, and we're going to decide how much clay we need, and we're going to simply pull that tool through the clay, and then I like to stand that up on edge, and I will pull it through again, okay? Try not to cross over with the ends of the wire tool, because what's going to happen is you're going to form kinks in the wire tool. Eventually it will fray and it will break. So just try to pull that wire straight through, okay? So once you've gotten your clay off the bag, I'm going to take the two pieces that I need. I'm going to go ahead and close that clay up and push that off to the side. Okay, so to prepare our clay for use, our concern is that there could be air trapped in here. And if you have remembered anything from your high school science classes, what does air do when it heats up? It expands. So that means if there's air trapped in this clay and it tries to expand, it's going to blow up. All right? So if you've ever done clay before, you've heard about things blowing up in the kiln, and that is because there's air trapped in the clay. So we are going to do some wedging to get the air out of the clay. And there's two methods of wedging. One of them is called the ram's head method. And what you're going to do is you're going to do small pushes and rolls on the table to get this going, okay? And what we're going to see is we're going to see the development of what looks like a ram's horn on the side of the clay, all right? So we're going to push down, and then we're going to pull the ends back in, and we're going to push down and pull the ends back in. And when I'm pulling those ends back in, I'm rolling the clay up and I'm pushing again. Rolling the clay up and pushing again. And we just keep repeating this method. Sometimes you'll hear air bubbles pop, and that's a good thing. It'll sound like, you know, you're popping your bubble gum. Or what you'll feel is the consistency of the moisture in the clay becoming very even. Because when we take our clay out of the bag, sometimes there's some areas that are wetter than other areas, and we want consistency, okay? Now, a few details to keep in mind. You want to be working on a porous surface. So that's something that'll absorb water. A nice piece of wood, a piece of drywall will work. But if you try to work, say, on your kitchen counter, the formica, the tile, that's going to be a problem because your clay is going to stick. And even when the spot where I'm working gets too wet, the clay will stick. So then I'll move over, okay? So going back to that ram's head method, I'm rolling and pushing. Now notice that when I push, there is still a lot of volume to the form that I'm doing. It's big, it's round. What you want to avoid is what I call the pancake push, where you smear it out like this and it gets really flat like a pancake. Because once you do that and you fold it back on itself, what are we creating right there? We are creating two huge air pockets. So we've actually now put air into the clay rather than taking the air out of the clay. So just remember to keep a lot of volume in what you're doing. Don't smash it out too flat. All right? And we're going to keep pushing, pulling, pushing, pulling. All right? So that's the ram's head method. All right? The other method I would like to show you is a cone method, and this is my preferred method of wedging. It's a little bit easier on your hands. What you're going to do is you're going to pick a point on the clay, and from that point, you're going to envision that that point is staying on the table all the time. So I'm going to push, and I'm going to round back up. And I'm going to push, and I'm going to round back up. And when we first start off with a square of clay, it's not going to look like a cone. But after we do a few pushes, so I'm kind of pushing out to the right, and then rolling back up on that tip. Pushing out to the right, and rolling back up on the tip. And I'm going to keep going. And when I feel like I've wedged the clay enough, and you can over wedge your clay. If your clay starts getting dry and hard, that's too much. You need to stop, okay? Once I feel like I've done it, I'm gonna roll the clay around that point, and I should end up with a cone, all right? And then I can pat that out, and I can make it any shape that I need to when I'm working with it, okay? So the main reasons for wedging: to get the air out of the clay and to equalize the moisture. Both very important. So that is how we're gonna wedge our clay for this semester. Thank you.